First of all, welcome to Social Problems. This is the book, the 8th edition, Social Problems, by John Mishonis. There's an electronic version and a paperback available for you. I am Dr. Woodring. I am a medical sociologist and criminologist. I have also just published a book that teaches graduate students preparing to teach or teaching or faculty in higher education how to use generative AI for teaching, learning, assessment, and research. That will be published this fall. That's why I wanted to have this meeting, because this class will be a little bit different in terms of the learning and assessment activities, because they will largely occur or happen with ChatGPT. We'll be using a GPT to enhance our knowledge of sociology and social problems here. So for those of you that have had sociology before, a lot of this material will be very familiar to you. We'll just be applying it in different ways. For those of you who haven't had it, some of the material will be fairly new, but it will make sense because we all know about social problems. Here's a list of social problems from the slides, comparing from 1935 to 2017, and of course terrorism, economic problems, unemployment, war, poverty, alcohol, immigration. All of these are social problems. We are going to critically analyze these social problems and learn their causes, their effects on societies, both at the macro level, groups of people as a whole, and also as individuals. And importantly, we're going to learn how these problems are constructed by what we call claims makers. And claims makers are leaders in the media, politicians, anyone who benefits from framing certain problems in certain ways to maybe gain electoral support or influence behavior, maybe get ratings. It's not just as simple as, oh, this is a problem, we need to solve it. Sometimes problems are created that don't even exist. Doesn't happen a lot, but it has happened a few times. Most of the times, problems are just either overstated or understated to influence some kind of political or voting behavior, or maybe consumer behavior, and or create some kind of narrative. Most of these will happen around election time, so you guys will learn a lot. You guys will look at the election this year in a different way, because you'll look at, you'll really analyze what the people are saying and why they're saying it, checking facts, so on and so forth. If we look at the readings, so since this is an 8-week class, and like most textbooks, there's usually 15 or 16 chapters in a textbook, we don't have time to cover all the material. So what you'll see that I've done is I've paired up these chapters. And this will make a little bit more sense once I talk about the personalized adaptive learning session, because you'll use ChatGPT to connect these things. You'll learn the core knowledge about sociology and social problems, and then your GPT will help you apply these sociological concepts to different things we study as sociologists in social media, online interactions or controversies, for example. And so these will be linked together. And so you can see chapter 1 is linked to chapter 10, chapter 2 is linked to chapter 11. And so this column is your standard readings. And then the later chapters we're going to apply our knowledge to basically social institutions is what we're doing. Taking these fundamental principles, theories, goals, and objectives of sociology, things that we study, and then we're applying them to specific use cases, scenarios, all of which will make a lot of sense, because we all live in a society, we all interact with work and politics and social media and work, and we all have a family. We're in education right now. We live in a city. Everything's sociological, but it's how we look at it, how we study it scientifically, that makes a difference. Okay, let me check and see if we have any people in here yet. Meeting of one. That's okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at PALS and Canvas. Let's just look at the Canvas structure generally. We'll also look at the syllabus. I'll leave you guys to read some of this, but the syllabus is right here. It explains the grading structure, the logic of the assessments, class participation. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. The overall structure of the course is 710 points total. We will have 8 PALs, so 1 per module, 8 modules total. We'll have 8 discussions total, and then 1 multimedia project. And you will have a great degree of autonomy for what you do with the multimedia project, what you want to do it on. I'll send out more about that later. So this tells you what chapters to read here. This is the PowerPoint I just looked at. And each PALS, right, each personalized adaptive learning session will start with a module overview. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this. So this is the beginning of PALS, and essentially almost everything you do will be in Canvas. There'll be a little bit of an interaction with ChatGPT in a journal. I have added extra audio here. I know that some of you can, or all of you can also use a read function in Canvas to do audio. This explains the overview of chapter 1. You have your learning objectives, competencies, and then advanced skills you learn, including generative AI ethics and literacy competencies, since you will be using ChatGPT. And this explains a little bit about the personalized adaptive learning with ChatGPT. You'll just start clicking through here. Next, you will go to the reference guide, and this serves as a foundational resource for understanding the key concepts for each module. And so you can go back here for reference or quickly get oriented with what this module or chapter is going to be about. You can go here, click next. Okay, so here's the PALS instructions. And as you can see, there's a link to ChatGPT here. We'll use that in just a second. And you can read these instructions or have Google or Canvas read them to you, however you prefer. But I'm going to take you through this actual process. So we're going to look at basically the first step of creating and accessing our journal. So if we go to, so we can download this. This is the journal that we'll be using. And it's laid out with headers. So if you download this, so you can click there to do a download. I have a sample journal made for you for this meeting. And this is where you will record your responses. Then you'll turn this journal in. And as you can see, I have everything organized by headers. So if you click down here in the bottom left, you can go to headings and you can easily navigate through the journal. And as you'll see here in a minute, everything is in small micro learning submodules. So you can just go and do a little bit here and there whenever you have time. And then if you have a day where you're off work or have time to do your homework, you can block that time off to do the rest. Okay, so you have your journal. Then you'll need ChatGPT. If you haven't accessed ChatGPT before, we're going to use the free version, so don't worry, you don't have to pay for it or anything. You can log in with Google if you have a Google account, or you can use your Microsoft NWAC account. I use Google, and it will pull up the interface. Your chat history will be over here if you need it. And I'm going to actually open 2 GPTs to just demonstrate a few basic things about ChatGPT that you need to know when using it. And I want to get this journal ready to use. And so if you have multiple monitors at home when you're working on this, it's fine, you can split the monitors. But if you need to efficiently use this journal with Canvas and or ChatGPT, you can split the screen like this, which makes it easy. Okay, so we're in PALS. First thing we're going to do is copy and paste this tutor prompt into ChatGPT. And as you can see, is that basically you're telling the GPT to act as a tutor or a teacher to not do your homework for you, but actually increase learning complexity as you go, map out each learning objective, help take you through each of the learning objectives as identified in the chapter. Each one of these is linked directly to the chapter, help you learn these competencies and skills, and to give you some feedback and ask you some critical thinking questions. This mitigates some of the design-induced errors that causes so many problems for higher education, because AI systems are built to replicate human intelligence. And as most of you know, ChatGPT has caused a lot of problems, not only because it replicates academic work for students, but also for instructors. And sometimes it doesn't do it well, especially the free version, if you're not trained and you don't know how to use it. But if you use it a certain way, then you can actually use it to make yourself smarter. And that's what we are going to do in this class, and of course learn. Okay, so we have this whole prompt copied. Let's just go ahead and paste it into 2 GPTs. So I paste it into 2 GPTs when I'm showing people kind of how to use GPTs an ethical way the first time, so they can see each conversation tries to produce unique text. It's just the way they're designed. They take unstructured data, which is basically all of the information that's ever been on the internet for this model, and it makes new data out of it. So it tries to make a unique thing each time, and you'll see that we'll get a different response. They'll be similar, but they'll be slightly different. So already this GPT is breaking everything down by the learning objective. It's outlining it this way. This GPT has started with the basics of sociology and definitions. So both are useful. It depends on your learning style and how you want to learn. You also technically don't have to use the GPT prompt, the tutor prompt at the beginning. I do advise it though, because it does help orient the GPT about what you're doing, and then every subsequent interaction after that is framed around learning, and it just makes it more ethical and more useful. And so I can already tell in my own personal kind of learning style, I like this better because I'm an instructor and I work based off learning objectives. So this makes very clear sense to me. It's organized the way that my brain likes it. And as you can see, it offers some critical thinking and reflection questions. So this is different than interacting with a textbook or some other kind of assignment, because it makes you think about what you're doing and you're interacting. You're not just passively reading an assignment or passively reading a textbook. Each of these prompts you enter can also be customized. And as you go along, as the journal will prompt you to expand or clarify knowledge, you can ask the GPT to expand and clarify knowledge on pretty much anything you want, and it will do it. And so I can already tell I'm going to use this GPT over here. This is just formatted the way I like. Let's go to our journal. So as you can see in the sample journal here, I already have the prompts and the answers and stuff figured out. But if we go to module 1.1, so these are the submodules. This is the first submodule of chapter 1, or module 1, the sociological imagination in media. I do have extra readings. I do have podcasts that I've created with various readings, and also videos. So it's not just using ChatGPT. This is multimodal. You can learn in different ways. You can learn from video, you can learn from audio, you can learn from the text. I've also uploaded the PowerPoints and the reading. So you have multiple learning pathways here to help you engage with the learning objectives and the material. So here's a suggested reading, an optional reading. Here's the first prompt you're going to use. And so basically, this is achieving the same learning objective as doing the reading. Only the GPT is producing this. And the more advanced version that I use in my book, everything is set up through Consensus GPT, which is available in ChatGPT Plus. And you add a little extra bit of text here, and it pulls everything up from an academic research database, so you can verify and fact check all of the information, and it comes from an academic database. Every once in a while it hallucinates, but most of the time it's accurate. And so for this, obviously you'll need to, and we'll have some structured fact checking and validation using either online sources or academic databases or your textbook or the slides. So this is the summary. It produces it, and note that in here I'm telling it to write in third-person paragraph form. If you don't want it to, if you like the list format version, that's fine. You can just take that out of there. But this is a lot easier on the eyes and the brain for me. They call it cognitive load. This is just easier for me to learn this way. But like I said, you might learn differently. And so here this is. And so what you do next is you're going to write a short word summary without AI. And this is a big deal because if you just have the GPT do your work for you, you're bypassing the learning process. Your critical thinking and creativity and all of the skills that you would use to synthesize this information will be atrophied, right? They won't get used. And let me tell you, it's going to be really important to have these skills because now there's going to be a competition to see who can have the best training data. In order for them to have the best training data, their models can only do so much. Right now, they need really smart people to learn from so they can train their models better. So the better you know how to read, write, and use GPTs, if you end up working with them or in education or some kind of knowledge-based profession in the future, it will be very valuable to have great writing, research, and organization skills. So yeah, here are the instructions. Write a concise and well-organized summary explaining the sociological imagination and its role in understanding mass media, social media. Include relevant examples that show how individual experiences are connected to broader societal context and how media shapes these experiences. And if you note, I will look over here, let's see. This is the right one. So something that students may not think about, but that I think about often whenever I'm being assessed over anything is the rubric. And so if you look at the, oh goodness, that's really small. At the end of the journal, and this is also where you turn in the assignment as well, there's a rubric. So this is how you will be graded over your writing. So accuracy, use of GPT feedback, reflection and depth. So you might want to look at this before you write the first time. I have also put little call outs in the journal per section, not in the journal, I'm sorry, in Canvas, so you can see these are some of the things you're going to be assessed over. So this is reminding you, oh yeah, when I write, I need to be clear, right? I need to write examples. It needs to be well structured and organized. And so essentially, you've asked your GPT to produce this core knowledge. You are going to summarize it here. So this is your original summary. This is just an example. So you summarize it in your own words. And like I said, this is important so you don't bypass the learning process. And then the next part is really important because then you get to augment and enhance your skills in writing, synthesis, organization with AI. So now you're going to ask the GPT to please review the summary and provide you with suggestions to enhance the clarity, depth, overall understanding, and help you refine it to make it better. So now, instead of using a GPT to do your homework and bypassing the learning process and not using your brain, you're actually going to use it to make you smarter. So let's go ahead and do this. So you're going to copy this in here. Remember, this is after you've summarized that. Paste it in. Usually add a little colon here. Like I said, this is just an example. Paste this after here. and it's going to analyze and then help you augment and enhance your writing and provide you with some feedback. So here are the suggestions for improvement. Elaborate on key concepts, clarifying definitions, providing detailed examples. And essentially, you're using this for intelligence augmentation now. You are using the GPT to advance your knowledge, skills, and abilities. They could have designed ChatGPT to do this, but for market-driven forces and other things and reasons and concepts we'll learn about in this course, that's not the way it took shape. We can talk about that later. Okay, so great. You've got suggestions for improvement. And you are going to log this in your journal. So this is the refined version. So you would copy and paste this. And what you see is that really you are creating your own customized bank of knowledge. Now remember, you can even add stuff to this if you're planning on studying criminology or sociology in the future or some kind of field, or want to know how this basically plays out in maybe mass media and healthcare or business. You can always change this and customize it. So it's personalized and it's adaptive. There are suggestions for you to make sure as you write, ask the GPT to expand or clarify any parts of knowledge that you are unclear. We've all been there with the textbook. We're reading this and we're like, what does this mean? I have no idea. The textbook can't interact with you, can't adapt to your needs, but this can. So, hey, I don't really understand the sociological imagination. Could you explain it in easy to understand terms? And it will break it down for you. And this is one of the most powerful things you can do with GPT. And it asked you again, because you've put it in, you can read it right there, by the way. You can, sorry, lost my train of thought because that started playing. But like I said, you can easily have this thing explain things to you very simply and advance your knowledge. Okay, we are now to reflection. So this is the next part of the journal. You're asked to reflect on how the concept of the sociological imagination has changed your perception of how media affects your personal experiences. So again, you are taking this knowledge, you're summarizing it, you're synthesizing it, you're gaining good writing and critical thinking skills. And then you're having the GPT enhance that, so you're learning what you could have done better. It's like a personalized adaptive tutor. And then you have this enhanced reading you can read later or use for your final project. And then you're going to reflect on this. You're going to apply it to your own life. And how has this new understanding shaped the way you view the impact of social media on yourself and society? And it will be different. You will look at the world in a different way after this class. So just write down what has changed for you. I do offer some advanced sociological and criminological prompts for those who might be wanting to be a criminologist or sociologist or psychologist or any kind of social scientist, maybe get a graduate degree later. And these prompts you can enter in, and these will expose you to kind of graduate level critical thinking and analysis. This one has you create a framework, right, for assessing the impact of media and marginalized groups. And if you think about this in terms of those of you who might go far in academia, to create your own framework as an undergraduate student, especially if you're using the paid version and you can cite references with the GPT, things will change quickly, because now as an undergraduate student, if you do want to go to graduate school, you can come in with your own research frameworks. You can advance and enhance your knowledge far beyond what you normally could as an undergraduate student before. So keep that in mind. And like I said, this is a small little chunk of learning. This is module 1.1. I think there are 6 total. And you can click next to go to the next submodule. And you just do that. You go through each submodule accordingly. And each are set up pretty much the same. Some of these are kind of niche topics, so sometimes there's not as many readings as you get towards the end, or not as many videos. But I try to, like I said, provide, like I'll make another podcast for this. I have some videos here for supplementation. And try to make it as accessible as possible. So one thing, speaking of being accessible, I need to make sure that if anyone has any vision, hearing, or any kind of disabilities, that this process is accessible. So if you see here on GPT, it does have the read aloud option here. I know there are accessibility options in Canvas. You can also have Google read through various accessibility tools. But I'm not sure, 100% sure how this will work for specific disabilities. So let me assure you, no matter what, we are going to make sure that everyone is accommodated and that everything is accessible here. So if anyone does have any issues with this at any point in time, and I will be offering feedback opportunities weekly to let me know how this is going, please let me know. There are other options. We can use the quizzes in from the book, right, for learning and assessment. The book obviously has, accessibility features, or we can find some other ways that perhaps work with GPT or simulate GPT, so on and so forth. If you want to take advantage of this style of learning, but you do have a disability or a need, just let me know, and we will 100% make sure that this course is accessible for you. Okay, so let's go through point 6. Each final module here. Okay, yeah, so this is the last module. So there's 6 submodules in module 1. And let's say you have your journal all filled out now. And so how are you going to be graded? You're also going to be graded with a GPT. And this is going to provide you with some other experience. And let's see here. Let's go back to modules. And if you look at the way this is set up in the course, you can see you just go through each of these. The next one will be how you submit this. Like I said, the rubric is also here. And this is how you will do the grading. Let me get the instructions pulled up over here. I'll add those in there real quick. If you pull up your headings view over here, and you look down here, grading feedback, this is how you're going to be graded, and you're going to get interactive feedback. And so what you're going to do is, since the free version of ChatGPT won't let you upload documents, the paid version will, and has all other kinds of features, but we're not going to require that you use that. So Claude has a nice interface, and you can upload things, and it's really handy because that's what a GPT does. It takes data and then interacts with it, analyzes it, evaluates it, creates new data from the other data. That's literally the purpose of a GPT. It takes a group of data and then makes new data out of it, right? Whether it's audio, video, text, whatever it is. And so you can see, let's move these side by side. You're going to get assessment from a GPT. The instructions are, before you submit this module, you're going to go to the free version of Claude, just like here. You're going to copy and paste this prompt. So here's the grading prompt. This is also a good skill because, again, you've already seen how you can take a GPT, give it a prompt to interact with you like a tutor or a teacher instead of just replicating your academic work and intelligence. And same here. You are getting very in-depth feedback on how to improve your responses overall in your work. And you are also learning how to use a GPT to grade on very specific criteria by entering this in here. And I've already entered this with a sample journal. I do need to, I'm going to swap this out though with a different journal with the new one I created. So let's go ahead and upload this. And so yeah, now you're telling the GPT, hey, I've completed this homework assignment. So you're pasting this in here. I've already pasted it in here. It can make sense of all this text. And then you upload your assignment. And then you click that button to input it. And it is going to give you some good feedback. So let's make this a little bit larger here. And look, even my sample journal got a score of 35 out of 35. And here it gives you some specific comments, right? Strengths, areas for improvement. You get, I don't know, like 10 free messages or something. So if you want to know, expand or clarify, just like you use the other GPT, you can say, hey, well, for this section, so you got a low grade here, can you expand and clarify on how I could improve this? Okay. Even though I already got a 7 out of 7. We're just using this as an example. But yeah, so say you got a 4 out of 7, and this information wasn't enough for you and you wanted more, you wanted to understand more, you can just ask it. Okay, it's like having a tutor right there with you. And so what you're going to do is you're going to paste the comments in the grade in your journal. There's a section here just like you filled out in the beginning, feedback summary, the grade, and here's your chance to give me feedback, write your own reflection on what's happening, and just, you know, any kind of thoughts or opinion. I will read these and analyze these, so let me know just kind of how your experience was. I'm sure some of you will have some interesting interactions with GPTs as we move along. So now you have completed Module 1. You're ready to submit it. You'll submit it in Canvas, just like you normally would. Any other assignment, you'll start the assignment and submit it. Okay? These are the first 2 steps. If you look at the instructions in Module 1, these are the first 2 steps. Okay, so like I said, you can read through this, but I've already showed you how to download the journal. You've accessed ChatGPT for free. You went through writing a summary, asking your GPT questions to clarify, enhancing the writing with the GPT, reflecting on your learning, and creating feedback. You've submitted your journal to Claude. You have documented its feedback, its grade. You've reflected on that. And then now you are ready to submit your journal. For submission, like I said, you will submit your journal. Then you'll also take where's my other GPT here? Oh, I think it's over here. You're going to take your chat. And make sure this is closed, because otherwise it'll copy all your stuff over here, which you might not have as much as me. Control A or Command A if you're on a Mac. You copy this. Paste this in here, right? And this is called co-regulated learning. So you're already learning self-determined, right? And self-directed learning. You're taking charge of your own learning. You're interacting in a personalized, adaptive way with the GPT. You're asking questions. You're expanding. You're clarifying your knowledge. Later, you'll set specific goals around your research project. And you're practicing self-regulated learning, which means that, oh, I'm not just going to have this GPT do my homework. I'm going to regulate how I use this AI, and it is going to make me smarter. I'm not going to misuse it. And so, but now we're doing co-regulated learning, right? This allows me to help you regulate and enhance your learning as well by just providing this so I can reference this later. So we'd save this, and you'd submit both your chat history and your journal for PALS 1 here. Okay? And there's one more component to PALS, the third component. So if you look in the instructions here, you'll see that the third component is discussion and peer review. You are going to submit a copy of one of your sections of your journal. So let me show you here. And we're going to practice a very valuable skill. So let's say whatever section you're most proud of, you want to, or maybe that you enjoyed the most, maybe it was defining social problems in media, you will copy this and you will go to the, let's see, discussion post. You will click reply down here. Of course, follow the directions. You're going to select the PALS section with these 3 sections. You're going to paste it for another person to review. Then you're going to review somebody else's. Okay, just need to do 1 review. You're going to use this rubric right here. Okay, and these are directly aligned with the rubrics from actually writing it. So everything's aligned. It's meant to, like I said, provide you with all of these advanced kind of learning skills and competencies, provide you with a deeper way to learn, a richer way to learn, and also help you develop some other competencies, because the whole time you're assessing yourself, there'll be some more formal self-assessment options later. Right now, you're going to learn how to give other people feedback as well, which is a highly valuable skill, especially in high-paying positions in different sectors. So you'll follow this, and you want to provide constructive feedback, obviously, and be kind, polite, respectful, but also be specific. Use the rubric to give them feedback, and offer positive reinforcement, provide suggestions. I will actually send out a training video on how to do this, because people who haven't been exposed to self-assessing or peer assessing, it's really foreign at first, because you might think, oh, who am I to grade this other person's work? Or, oh, I'm just going to always give myself the best. Well, the truth of the matter is that later in life, in work, and in your personal life, for self-assessment, it's going to come down to a time sometimes where it's only up to you to be able to assess your life, to make a big change, or to fix something, or solve a problem, or advance it, or whatever you want to do. You're going to have those skills to critically reflect and enhance that part of your life, or change it, or whatever your goals or objectives are. And same thing for peer assessment. You're going to end up in positions where you are getting paid to manage other people. You're going to have to give them feedback they don't want to hear in a polite, nice, and constructive way, but also a helpful way. And this is going to help provide you with a framework to do that, and help build some of those skills. And also learn sociology and social problems at the same time. And so that's it. You submit your section, and then do a peer review. And that's what we have for Module 1. And the journal right here is available for download, but like I said, it's also linked in the instructions up here. Okay, let me check my final notes here to see if there's anything else I need to discuss. So I will say, feel free to contact me anytime. About anything, you're welcome to call, text, email, whatever is most comfortable for you. I have some students text me. Some people just call me out of the blue. It's fine. Don't call me at 2 in the morning, obviously. But I work a lot. I sit in my little studio in my room here, and I just come up with better ways to advance myself as a teacher and to enhance teaching and learning with AI. So I'm here and available all the time to help you succeed. And yeah, I look forward to being your guide on this journey for learning about social problems. It's going to be very surreal as you read and learn about all this stuff as we go through an election year, because you're going to see everything that politicians do and everyone around campaigns in a new light. And if you want to kind of get a head start, and you have Netflix or some other streaming platform where you can get the documentary The Great Hack, it's very good. It shows how politicians use different algorithms and different social media platforms to influence voting behavior. And then now, if you think about it too, with AI and all of the advancements coming out, obviously the politicians and campaign managers and everyone working on the campaigns will be using different AIs to influence voting behavior, whether it's through social media or whatever kinds of media. And so this will become very surreal. I think it'll be a great learning experience for you guys. And if you have any other questions, just let me know. And like I said, I'll send out other training materials and videos and all that kind of good stuff.